the various coaches. 28 of them were in it. I'm like, who the hell are these people? We've got nearly 33% turnover in one offseason. So today's draft, the new head coach is in the best situation to win or whatever in 2022. Peter, you get the first pick.
I'll take Nathaniel Hackett. He's a mad scientist with quarterbacks. Russell Wilson has wanted an imaginative coach to challenge him and to be able to bounce ideas off him. I think the marriage is going to be very good, and you're walking into a team with a better offensive line than Russell Wilson left in Seattle and with a top 10 defense. I mean, I'm not saying the sky's the limit. They're in the toughest division in the 20-year history since the NFL went to 8 four-team divisions. This is the toughest division there ever was. So I don't know what the final record is going to be, but the Broncos are going to be a lot better.
The only caveat on the entire Broncos experience now, especially with a new head coach, is we don't know who the owner's going to be. They're looking for an owner. And that's a dynamic that's fairly significant that is going to potentially change things at some point this year. And look, it's not necessarily going to be a bad thing. It's just going to be different. And we won't know until we know who it is and how that person's going to run the team. I'm going to start with Todd Bowles because, look, he's got Tom Brady. He's got a team that's brought back most of its players. It's clearly a contender in a watered-down NFC. They should be able to run that division. That division has coaches who have been there fewer than 4 years each. Matt Rule is the dean, as someone pointed out this week. I think it was Albert Breer. He's the dean of the NFC South now. So I'll take Tom Brady. Yeah. I'll take Byron Leftwich, and I'll focus on the defense, and I'll be the head coach on game day, and life could be pretty good, at least for 2022 in Tampa.
You know, I'll pick a little bit of a weird one. I'm going to pick Matt Eberflus. And the reason I'm going to pick Matt Eberflus in Chicago is that sometimes you simply need somebody to come in who is a breath of fresh air. That's all. Sometimes you just need a change. And Matt Eberflus is coming in, and everybody said, oh, my God, why are you picking a defensive guy? Because when Ryan Poles did his interviews, the one thing he was looking for is the best leader of men. And I don't think I've told this story, but Ryan Poles, what's interesting about this, and I don't mean to take up too much time, but Ryan Poles, when he had to sit down and decide what he was going to do, got back into his office and somebody said, hey, Tony Dungy is looking for you. Can he call you? You know, I'll give him your phone number. Yeah, of course. So he calls him and he said, pick the guy who you think is going to be the best guy. Don't listen to the outside world about saying who you should pick, whatever. Pick the guy who you want. Pick the guy who can lead your team. And Ryan Poles said it was like heaven sent, you know, that happened because I kept thinking about that. You have all these people saying how here's who you should pick, here's who the favorite is, get an offensive guy to help Justin Fields. He picked the guy who he thinks is going to be the best leader for his team. And right now, I think starting over is exactly what Justin Fields needs.
I will go with Mike McDaniel, the new Dolphins coach. I think he's awesome. He's a breath of fresh air for the NFL. He's very real. He's authentic, and he's different in a good way. And he's got Tyreek Hill, and he's got Jalen Waddle, and he's got that Kyle Shanahan offense that is going to make the Dolphins, who have managed to put together back-to-back winning seasons, even though they haven't gotten to the playoffs. The defense is still in place. Josh Boyer, the coordinator, is still there. You bring in Mike McDaniel. It's kind of like the flip side to what the Buccaneers did when they brought in John Gruden. You know, you bring in a guy that's really going to – it's not the flip side. It's the exact same. You bring in a guy who's going to kick the offense in the ass at a time when you got a pretty good defense. The offense needed a kick in the ass. Mike McDaniel is going to supply it. If the defense holds where it was, this team can be pretty damn good right away, Peter.
Mike, for my last one, I'm going to pick Josh McDaniels with the Raiders. He got a lot better and a lot smarter and will be a lot more successful because of two things that happened within 30 hours of each other in the month of March. They signed Chandler Jones. So now it's going to be Chandler Jones and Max Crosby, two top 10 edge rushers playing together. in 2022 on a defense that needs to get a lot of pressure in a division with great quarterbacks. And then obviously they got Devontae Adams. And in my opinion, Devontae Adams and Derek Carr are going to make beautiful music together. So I think that the Raiders are going to show very, very well in Josh McDaniels' second rookie year as a head coach.
It gets very difficult now because jobs become available for a reason, because the team isn't very good. But I'll go with Dennis Allen in New Orleans. This is a guy who had been strangely overlooked in the hiring process, even though he's done a phenomenal job with a defense that was in shambles when he arrived. 2015, I believe the year was. He's quietly been there, putting together a very good defense. We saw what he can do last year on a Sunday night when Sean Payton was unavailable due to COVID protocols. Dennis Allen and the Saints shut out Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 9-0 in prime time. So Allen, who's going to draw a great hand with the Raiders? You know, Mike Shanahan didn't draw a great hand with the Raiders. Plenty of people would fail at various points given the dysfunction that has generally engulfed that team for the past 20 years or longer. But I think that Allen, with so much continuity, with Mickey Loomis in his corner, you know, they've got, it's kind of like what they did in Tampa. They just did it earlier. They did it in January, not in March. So even though they have to deal with the Bucs, I think Dennis Allen's in great shape.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.